As we continue our yatra, we realize that if motors are one part of the component jigsaw, another often overlooked one is rubber. Think about it. Rubber is almost indispensable an auto component used in seals, gaskets, shock absorbers, and you guessed it, tires.
We've travelled from Chennai to the neighbouring town of Gumudipundi to make a pit stop at Emerald Tyre's plant in the region. Now, the rubber industry is a critical part of the auto component manufacturing ecosystem, powering exports and rural employment. However, it's also this industry that faces a host of challenges, including raw material shortages, inverted duty structures, and global trade pressures on account of President Donald Trump's tariffs on exports from India.
The Indian industry is gearing up to meet the international standards. So in many ways, we are peaking in terms of productivity, we are peaking in terms of quality. So all those companies who are coming into India want to look at local sources, and that is what is fueling the growth. Other than that, China plus one has been an advantage. Probably, that if the tariffs are taken care of, the industry will further grow.
Right. So even as we take stock of what I would only assume would be a fortuitous time for both the rubber and the tire industry, and the tire industry more so as as an integral part of the automotive corridor here in Chennai and surrounding districts. The fact is, some concerns continue to exist.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think right on top of this pyramid of concerns, I would assume is the inverted duty structure.
That's right.
Which has been a talking point for the industry itself. I'm sure you're looking forward to the upcoming union budget to solve some of those problems. What is that wish list like for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is an issue which we have been talking for a very long time. We have raw materials coming into this country at duty being imposed, whereas you look at finished products because of the free trade agreements between a lot of ASEAN countries. Rubber is available in most of the ASEAN countries, so finished products coming from there are coming at zero duty. So that is affecting the industry. So if you look at the non-tire rubber product manufacturing industries, we see a lot of finished products being imported in this country, and that is hurting the local manufacturers. We should always be aware that this industry is labor intensive. So the number of employments can go up substantially if this particular issue is addressed. You have raw materials coming at very high duty structure, and you have finished goods at zero duty structure, which absolutely doesn't make any sense. And this is something which both ATMA and AIRIA as well as the CII, all of us have been demanding from the government for a very long time. Hopefully that gets addressed in this union budget.
Right. So if you were to have a wish list in your hand and jot down the kind of duty structure that would be most preferable to the industry itself, what would that look like?
Raw material should be allowed to be imported, at least to the extent of shortage of natural rubber. We should be allowed to import at zero duty. Other raw materials also, there is a lot of ADD being added on to some of the critical chemicals which are not available, which are not fully manufactured in India. So if those chemicals are allowed to be imported at zero duties, then that helps. The other side of it is, if there are if duties are imposed on imported products, at least there is a safeguard for the industry. So this is something which is very critical. Either way, either you allow raw materials to be imported at a lesser duty, or you allow finished goods to be imported at certain duty levels, which gives a competitive edge for the industry. So that is something which we are very hopeful that the government will address at this point.
Absolutely. And all of this in the attempt to really boost domestic production, and that has been, in fact, right atop your priority list. What kind of a boost do you think you could potentially see should the policy levers be pulled in the right way? What is that aspirational level that you actually want to hit?
8 to 10% growth is guaranteed if we kind of get all these things in place. And I am very hopeful with the kind of automotive industries coming into this country, with the off-highway equipments being manufactured in the construction, mining and industrial production happening here, 8 to 10% will definitely happen. Not only that, labor employment will increase substantially.
In short, the rubber manufacturers are saying simply this: growth is possible provided the industry gets what it has always wanted, a corrected duty structure and an eased out supply chain.
What the rubber industry also wants is tax incentives and grants for R&D in smart tires, sustainability and automation, all in the effort to maintain global competitiveness and align with EV and green mobility trends. This in turn, the industry says, could enhance India's footprint as a global manufacturing hub.
The industry has moved quite a bit in terms of manufacturing. So a lot of MSMEs are still dependent on labor. There's a lot of shortage of people. Even if you have labor, they are looking at better facilities for working. So those are areas where R&D is happening, and there is a lot of technology available. So any incentives towards an R&D, towards automation, these are areas where the rubber industry has to work. And if there is a government support to this, we will be able to we are looking at scaling up production. So in scaling up, wherever there is automation needed, those are the areas where we need support from the government.
And when you talk about scaling up itself, what do you think is the specific incentive that you feel is the need of the hour? I know for a fact that scale up, yes, it is important to advance employment as well, given how labor intensive the industry is. But are you looking at a capital allocation? Are you looking at a subsidy? Are you looking at a grant? Are you looking at working capital being smoothened out for the industry itself? What are the specifics on your wish list?
So subsidy is something for the machineries, import of machineries. The rubber machineries as such, the industry is quite weak. So we are looking at subsidies for import of machinery. We are looking at, for the natural rubber, if there is a sinking fund which is created, which allows the rubber growers to tap into. We are looking at 1,000 crore allocation from the government, a sinking fund for the rubber growers, so that it helps them improve their productivity, it helps them improve their acreage. So that is something which the rubber growers will have the incentive to produce more, and from the industry we will get raw materials. It helps India become self-reliant. So this is how we are looking at the government to help us tide over the shortage of raw material.
Right. Moving forward, I know for a fact that you are optimistic about growth and actually go about projecting it, given the fact that you are already on a healthy growth tangent. Looking forward, the budgetary allocations and the incentives aside, what do you think will be the key growth drivers for the industry itself going forward, especially in the automotive and automotive component corridor that we find ourselves in Chennai?
No, Chennai already has a great infrastructure for the automotive industry to come in, but in spite of that, we see that a lot of focus. If the industry is given a lot of focus, we will be able to grow in leaps and bounds. Also, if you look at it, rubber and rubber industries, a lot of industries are there in and around Chennai. So the focus from the government and the industry bodies will help us scale up.
There's little doubt that the automobile and auto component sectors have thrived due to government schemes like production-linked incentives and the recent GST rationalization drive. It's no coincidence that India wants greater self-sufficiency in these sectors too. However, industry bodies like CII say the ecosystem needs a bit of breathing room to get there.